चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजाता सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीव साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेव श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्रिषे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कं करोति वाचालं लङ्गायते गिरिं तत्कृपातमहं श्रीगुरुं दत्तात्रेयं।
Hare Krishna. So we are very fortunate to have Samarpan Prabhu today with us. We'll be revising the complete Bhagavad Gita Unit 3, which is from chapter 13 to chapter 18. So I'll just give a small introduction. I know everyone must have seen Prabhuji, met Prabhuji, and know, but just I'll do it for my purification. So Samarpan Prabhu is he's from Maharashtra only. He's from a Brahmin family. He belongs to a holy land where the Kumbh Mela happens, which is from Nashik. And he did his BE from Pune itself, from the PVG college. And he was among the first three toppers throughout. And he also worked in Pune for 2 years in Nilsoft company in CAD and CFD. And post that, he pursued his master's in thermal engineering, where he was a gold medalist and that too from NIT Surathkal, which is in Karnataka. And then he completed his MTech project in ISC Bangalore, which is again belonging to CFD field in aerospace, and he was selected as a GE Foundation scholar. Then he worked in Hyderabad in FMC Tech for 6 months and in the Romax Tech Pune itself for 1.5 years in CAD. And post that, he has dedicated his life for serving the humanity and is personally applying the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and sharing it with others. From 2011, he has joined ISKCON Pune as a brahmachari. He completed his 2 years Bhaktivedanta Vidyapit course also, systematically studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita for 2 years full time from 15 to 17, which includes the Bhakti Vaibhava, which he did with Radhesham Prabhu at GEV. And he has been like preaching various colleges. He has visited IIT Madras, SRM Chennai, COEP, SAE, guiding all the students and youth by teaching all the principles of Bhagavad Gita and Vedic wisdoms. And he has also traveled in the Sankirtan bus party, distributing Srila Prabhupada's book in like all the villages, remote villages of Maharashtra for almost 3 years. And we have visited ISKCON Rajgarh also, the farm community, the farmhouse of our Vrindavan Chandra. So he has served there by cooking for the deities for almost 1.5 years. And currently he is serving as a teacher of Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta in BVRV. at ISKCON NVCC and IBMB, that is at Vrindavan. So he, for these courses, he visited various places like ISKCON Camp, Kanpur, Warangal. So yeah, without taking much time and me speaking about him, we'll like to hear from you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, am I audible to all of you? It's clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. So, Rukmini Vallabh Prabhu had suggested me. So, please correct me if I am not wrong. He was sharing that entire Bhagavad Gita the revision. Is it last portion or entire Gita portion? He told me the entire Gita actually.
Then we can have Prabhuji for entire Gita because we have completed the last unit.
Yes.
So we can have for entire Bhagavad Gita as well. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. So we'll try to have some kind of revision. Yes. Thank you. So, my dear friend Rukmani Vallabh Prabhu, who is taking care of your batch, he has suggested me to reflect on the entire content of Bhagavad Gita with all of you. So, I'm grateful to him for this, and it's so actually we'll try to do some kind of revision in next maybe whatever time we have, maybe 1.5 hours or so, and see if there are some comments or questions in at the end. So, as I was told, so Bhagavad Gita is a very exalted scripture. So, I'm going to show some slides. So, before beginning, I would not call this as overview because as Parampaja Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj was saying about Srimad Bhagavatam, so Bhagavatam is not different than Krishna. So Bhagavad Gita is also like that. They are words of Krishna. Hmm. So you cannot have overview of something which is like Krishna. Overview means you are on top and you can see. So we can have some underview of the book, which is very, very deep and exalted book, which is coming from the lotus mount of the Supreme Lord. So that's why I thought of calling it underview. It's not overview cannot be there because how can we have that understanding? So Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Lord Himself as a essence of whatever He has to spoken in entirety of gamut of Vedic literature, which is oceanic, 1 lakh verses, like that it is told. So, but still, it is not very clear for the people what is to be done and what is to be attained in life. That's why Bhagavad Gita was spoken actually for the sake of clarifying in a very climax setting, right in the middle of battlefield, just in the beginning of battle, after the conch shells are blown. So it's a very crucial. That time Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita. So it's the essential message which Lord wants to give through all the Vedic literature. So it's extremely precise and very, very deep. And as I am studying more Bhagavatam and Chaitan Charitamrit, I am understanding that all these things are there in Bhagavad Gita in a very seed form. That's why. So now, having you are studying this, so let us have some kind of underview of the entire content of Bhagavad Gita and what is the purpose of that content with whatever understanding I have. So basically, all of you are aware that there are basically. So let us glorify Bhagavad Gita first. So yatra Gita vicharascha pathanam pathanam tatha modeta tatra Shri Krishna Bhagavan Radhaya Saha. Very simple. Wherever there is a Bhagavad Gita being discussed, vichar, pathanam, studied, and taught, pathanam. There, Sri Radharani and Bhagavan Shri Krishna are blissfully present. Right? So it's a very exalted scripture where Radha Krishna are very happy if someone is discussing that. So we are going to do that for some time. And that's why Gita should be offered all respect at all times in all places as the inaugurator of all religious wisdom and the spotless essence of all holy scripture. Tasmat dharmamayi Gita sarva jnana prayojika sarva shastra sara bhuta vishuddha sa vishishyate. So that glorious scripture we are trying to reflect. So all of us know that there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita and they are put in form of sections. So you must have heard that many times, right? Can someone say what are those sections essentially and what are their contents? If you have, it is there in your remembrance. Anyone wants to say about the 18 chapters? Yes.
You like the yoga ladder?
Yoga ladder, no. Just what are the chapters? Like 18 chapters are there. Does it have the division? Like you had 3 units, right?
3 units, yeah. First six they were focused on like karma yoga.
Yes.
Between it has bhakti yoga, and
Yes.
towards the end it has jnana yoga.
Perfect. Yes. So that's how the 3 units are given. So as I told, Bhagavad Gita is something which Lord wants to tell in essence. So the essence of the message is given in the middle. Just as you see here, so this is Hindi. I wanted in English, but I didn't have time. So you can see it is compared with a jeweled box. So the real jewel is in middle. Although the most valuable jewel is there, the box is also very nice, right? So that's why the box on top of box is like Jnana Yoga and the down box is Karma Yoga. And the middle thing is Bhakti Yoga, which Krishna wants to give. Right? The purpose of box is to give the main jewel which is there in between, right? So that's the purpose actually. So since we want the jewel and we want to understand and practice and experience the essential message which is given in entire Bhagavad Gita, so there is a need of understanding the other yogas also. So as you see here in 9.3 purport, Srila Prabhupada says that there are 3 kinds of devotees. And when we are trying to practice devotional service, so there is a tendency to mix bhakti with other things, karma yoga, jnana yoga, etc. So the middle jewel is nothing but the middle 6 chapters. And the essence of middle 6 chapters is middle 2 chapters. That is chapter 9 and chapter 10, which is pure unalloyed devotional service. Parama Guhya Jnana, or the most confidential knowledge as taught by Lord Shri Krishna, as entitled by Srila Prabhupada. So it's a most confidential knowledge. Although there are 8 crore more than that copies are distributed of Bhagavad Gita as it is, but it is not necessary that everyone will grasp the most confidential knowledge. Because most confidential knowledge is to be received in a right spirit from right source. So that is what is pure unalloyed devotional service. So that's what is the essential message which Krishna wants to give. And the end of the 9th chapter and the beginning of the 10th chapter is the essence of the essence of the essence. Right? So the entire Bhagavad Gita itself is essence. The essence of it is middle 6 chapters. The essence of them is middle 2 chapters, 9 and 10, which is most confidential knowledge. And the middle of the middle, that is the end of 9th chapter and beginning of 10th chapter, is the essence. There the verse comes, Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto Madhyachi Mam Namaskam. Mamai Vaishyasi Yuktaivam Atmanam Mat Parayam. So this is the essential message which Krishna wants to give all of us. And that repeats in the 18th chapter as well, 18.65. So why is it we have to understand all the Gita? So let us see that. Why? So as we understood this, so The culmination of all points of yoga is in Bhakti Yoga. So that's why the whole purpose of other yogas is, right? So this is 6.47. So all other yogas actually should ideally should proceed to practice of bhakti. So what is the content now? Having said this overall content, now in principle, what is the content? So in short, I am telling to tell that there are basically, as I told, three sets of 6 chapters each. So there is something called sadhana and there is something called sadhya, the means and the goal, right? So the first 6 chapters, the goal is Atma Sakshatkara, Aham Brahmasmi, realization that I am spirit. That is Swarupa of Jiva. So that is Sadhya. And the method to attain that is Nishkama Karma Yoga. That is the overall thing. So Srila Prabhupada dedicates his Bhagavad Gita to Baladev Vidyabhushan, who is writing these things, whose major message is given by Prabhupada and fluffed by Prabhupada. The second 6 chapters is the Sadhya, the sadhana is Bhakti Yoga, and the Sadhya is the attaining the Supreme Lord, not just Aham Brahmasmi, but love of God. All right, coming in revelation of Lord completely. That is what is the essential message, as I told. And the third is the true nature of Lord and all other items, karma, the 5 items of Bhagavad Gita, right? That is the Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. So all these things are analyzed in the last 6 chapters. Okay? So that is what the next, the down part, which I just now explained. So overall content is what? Exact natures of what is Jiva, Jiva Swarupa, and what is Paramatma or Lord Swarupa, and their powers. Exact nature, defining them. How to realize them, the method to realize, precisely explained. And what is the nature of Jiva which will be suitable for attaining the Supreme Lord? That also is told. So, and the analysis of the 5 elements. So, this is the content of that. Right? So, why it is important for all of us to understand is Prabhupada is writing Bharata Bhumite Bhanushya Janmaja Janma Sartakari Paropata. Or other ways, Prabhupada also says that. Krishna Upadesh. So Lord Chaitanya desired that all who are born in India seriously understand such Krishna Kathas and then, after full realization, preach the transcendental message to everyone in parts of the world. That will bring about the desired peace and prosperity of the second world. So that's how Prabhupada is encouraging us to do. So what is the purpose? So different sadhanas will lead to different sadhyas. Right? So sadhya is Atma Sakshatkar in the first 6 chapters. But so one will attain impersonal liberation. That is the downmost thing you can see. So Nishkam Karma Yoga will mature into Jnana Yoga or and Ashtanga Yoga, whatever, depending on the person. However, you want to go beyond the impersonal liberation into Vaikuntha planets, one has to practice Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti or Yoga Mishra Bhakti. So that is the subject matter of middle 7 chapter and 8 chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But if we want to become an associate of Krishna, which Prabhupada says that we can become family member of Krishna. So that can happen only by practice of Kevala Bhakti, which is told in the 9th chapter, elaborately, 9th and 10th chapter. Right? So that's the goal actually, as Srila Prabhupada says. So it's one thing to get out of the jail to the kingdom, but it's another thing to be in the kingdom somewhere. It's another thing to be in the palace of the king, and it's another thing to be in the inner chambers of the king with the king. Right? So that is the different liberations. So Kevala Bhakti can award us what Srila Prabhupada came to give, right? To become a family member or associate of Krishna. So different kinds of yoga are only stepping stones on path of Krishna consciousness. So this is what is the goal, right? So why we understand other yogas? Because we want to practice pure thing. So if you want to practice purity, you have to know the impurity, right? So earlier days we used to do rice. So that time the mother will take the the grains and she will remove the small some some stones or like that. So like that we have to understand the mixtures so that we can practice pure devotional service. So that's what Prabhupada is telling. The the all paths, like a culmination of all kinds of yoga practices lies in Bhakti Yoga. So this I showed. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga. So anyone who stops in between is called as a karma yogi or jnana yogi or ashtanga yogi. Right? But one who reaches bhakti, and when one surpasses ashtanga yoga, comes to the point of supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna. So it's called bhakti yoga, the culmination. So bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal. But to analyze bhakti yoga minutely, one has to understand other yogas. So that's the purpose. Right? So that's what is told here. So this already I said, but this is the process and the attainment. So this is how the chapters are there. So this we will not discuss, but just for an indication that what are the processes given in Bhagavad Gita and what are the results of it. So having said that, now let us enter into first 6 chapters. So before that, I would like to say one thing about the the essential message, as I told. The ninth chapter is that, right? The ninth chapter is the essential message, ninth and tenth chapter. That's the Shloki Bhagavad Gita. Hmm? So, what is the essential aspect of Lord speaking this? Because the goal of our practice is to attain love of God. And that can be attained by understanding the most confidential knowledge, which is given in the chapter 9. So that is the whole purpose. So purpose of that and the language to understand the love of God is this Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, which is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give. So that is given in the ninth chapter. So in this world, so Paramahansa Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj was saying this, that actually, unless we understand the how the Supreme Lord is far as well as He is near in this world, we cannot actually have exchanges. So that is the means to understand and practice to attain love of God is the Achintya Veda Vittata. So that is given in ninth chapter. So now let us begin discussing the over kind of not over but content of the chapter 2 to chapter 1 to 6 basically. So the chapter 1 is actually setting the scene of Bhagavad Gita, which in essence is telling us about the Arjuna Vishad Yoga, right? That's the title, one of the titles. And the title given by Srila Prabhupada is Observing the Arms. So the content of it is briefly is the different reasons the Lord is told by Arjuna that I will not fight. After there is, after Dhritarashtra is asking what is happening, etc. So this particular chapters is very essential to make Gita relevant for every one of us in our day-to-day life. Why? Because it's not that only Arjuna is fighting. Actually, first, to the degree the first chapter becomes relevant for us, to that degree the rest of Bhagavad Gita will become relevant. So in our case, there are Duryodanas and Dhritarashtras in our heart, and there are Pandavas and Arjuna and Krishna are there in heart. So unless there is confusion and indecision, to the degree this happens, to that degree we will become more receptive to this message. Because this indecision and confusion is leading to surrender in the second chapter, right? So to the degree we are applying ourselves within the knowledge which we are hearing, to that degree Bhagavad Gita will become relevant. The content of Bhagavad Gita will become relevant. Otherwise, it will be just a theory. Because this battlefield is within. Right? So, what is happening with Arjuna is happening within us. So, that is the first chapter, actually, more or less. So, with that background of first chapter, so unless we are having that kind of disposition or trying for that, it will become more and more relevant. So the jignasa, see, confusion is the beginning of knowledge. Yeah. So then we start inquiring why it is happening, how it is happening, who am I, etc. So the jignasa can awaken in a soul which is compassionate and non-violent, like Arjuna, not a cruel or violent person. So then second chapter is what? More or less the contents of Gita summarized. So Arjuna, as I already mentioned, so Arjuna admits his confusion. Earlier he was too confident to say, I know a lot. Why you are engaging me in sin? Why you are making me unhappy? My happiness will go. And so many other reasons of destruction of family tradition. And I should be compassionate. Right? So, but then he enters into confusion. And the best part is he admits the confusion and he surrenders to his friend and he's no more friend. Now he takes the role of guru. So this, the purpose of metal world is to create perplexity, Prabhupada says. And when perplexity happens, the best course of action is Guhyam Akhyati Puchyati. We submit, admit and submit. So that's what is happening in the beginning of second chapter. And he surrenders. And he not only surrenders just for the sake of getting rid of his miseries. No, he wants to surrender with right motivation. So he is saying to Krishna that, my dear Lord, please tell me how fighting is beneficial. I am understanding that I should fight, but I am thinking I am not convinced that it is beneficial for me. So please convince me. Then Lord starts speaking. So basically, this chapter has three portions. It is Sambandha, Avideya, and Prayojana. So the Sambandha is told in the difference between body and soul and how we should tolerate the dualities and continue practicing yoga to attain the realization. So this is the Sambandha Gyan, where he begins by refuting Mayavad philosophy. Okay? And it ends, even if you don't believe on any of these philosophies, still you should fight. So that's what is the first part. And then the sadhana, the method to attain that Atmagyan is called Buddhi Yoga. That is told from 38 to 53. So what is Buddhi Yoga? Buddhi Yoga is the yoga which is done by intelligence. Okay? So that's what is Buddhi Yoga means. And then the Prayojana means Arjuna asks a culture of the person who has attained the Sambandha Gyan, who has realized the Sambandha Gyan. So the knowledge has to reflect in behavior. right? So there is Siddhanta and there is Sadacha, right? So the symptoms of self-realized soul, 54 to 72. So what is his language, how he speaks, how he sits and how he walks. So how he speaks means how he responds to dualities in his life, and how he sits and how he restrains his senses and how he engages his senses. So that's how the very important section of this second chapter is the last section. So that is the second chapter. And then third chapter in essence is one has to do right activity, because everyone is inevitably acting in this world. No one can remain inactive, right? So that's what is, so right activity has to be done. But how? It has to be sincere, wholehearted action with knowledge that will lead to liberation. And if we do otherwise activity, then it will lead to bondage. So action is inevitable for embodied soul. So we have to perform activity. Then if we do activity wrongly, then we will get bound and will suffer. So what we have to do? We have to dutifully act, and in a detached spirit we act. That is told in the first 9 verses. And that has to be done to set an example for the advanced people, like Arjuna, for example. So he doesn't keep on disturbing others by saying that all of the why what you are doing, you do this. No. So that is told in the next 11 to 29. And if that is not fully possible to be acting in a detached and dutiful way, then one can live a life of sacrifice to the demigods, where there are some personal desires to be fulfilled quickly. Then one can worship the devatas, which are angas of the Supreme Lord. So that is from 10 to 60. Don't become attached to activities, otherwise they are impediments on the royal road. That is the next portion. And the last and the very important section of this chapter is be aware of lust, which is the all devouring sinful enemy of this world. So, this enemy can be dealt with enlightenment and action and proper strategy. So, first, enlightenment is given by the Lord from 36 to 40, and the strategy to deal with it is given from 41 only. Tasmat Indriyanyadu. Begin with the controlling the senses in an environment, and then gradually you can purify from it. So right activity has to be done while being dutiful and detached, and we have to be aware about lust, not get swayed by raga and dvesh. That's the essential message actually. So this is, as I told, it's a Nishkama Karma Yoga section. So the major thing discussion here is the activity done with knowledge. So first is right activity has to be done. But how can we do right activity? So right knowledge is necessary to acquire from right source to actually perform right. So that right knowledge, the transcendental knowledge, is the chapter 4, where the first 15 verses explain about the knowledge of Krishna, how it comes, what is the method of this knowledge, and what is the how to receive it, and what is that knowledge, why, when Krishna appears to establish dharma, etc. How so many people, Vitraga, Bhayakrodha, Manmaya, Mamapashta, Bhavo Jnana Tapasa, Putama Bhavama. So the most important verse comes here. Prabhupada often says that this is a very important verse of Bhagavad Gita. 4.9 Janma karma cha me divyam evam yovetti tatvata taktva deham punarjanma naitamamyas. So that is the first part, which is the knowledge of Krishna. And then there is knowledge needed to transform our work into sacrifice. And so many, because otherwise it will lead to bondage. So many different types of sacrifice in terms of activities, tapasya and varnashrama. What a sacrifice for grahastha, what is sacrifice for brahmachari. Everything is given. But how to choose that? So for that you need a guide, a guru. Tadvidhi pranipatena paripashnena sevaya. So to understand and approach the Supreme Lord, you must accept a spiritual master who is self-realized. So that is the subject matter of the rest of the section 34 to 40. And we surrender, render service, and inquire, and different qualifications of receiving that knowledge of the Supreme Law. Right? So that is what is the, and the fifth chapter is the proper activity with knowledge is better and safer than inaction. So here Krishna encourages Arjuna to act than to renounce, to practice, like giving up his duty. So how it is better and safer, that is the first few verses. And then focusing on the soul and not the body, and gradually realizing the self, and then realizing the super self, Paramatma as well. So with equal vision, that all things are there in this particular section, right? So that's how the peace formula ends here, that anyone who understands what is that was Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Surudam Sarva Bhoktanam Vyapama Shantim Richatu. So that is how this chapter ends. So this is more or less the essential message of Nishkama Karma Yoga section, which graduates into Jnana Yoga and person attains liberation. However, there is another method also to attain liberation after practice of Nishkam Karma Yoga, that is called Ashtanga Yoga. It's a tool. So this is another way where there are Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. So that's what is the description in the sixth chapter. So these two yogas can be practiced after purification of heart to some extent, right? So that is what is the subject matter. So here Arjuna expresses that this is quite impractical for me, and the chapter ends with the famous verse Yoginam api sarvesham madgate antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma same yukta tamamata. So my dear Arjuna, in my opinion, that yogi who is completely absorbed in me, completely taking shelter of me, that yogi is the best among all the yogis whosoever I have spoken. So that is the essentially the first six chapters. So essence of this practice of karma yoga or nishkama karma yoga is to actually become detached from the doership and from the enjoyership. So this should be the practice, because these two mentalities rivet us in the material world and to the body. So by connection with the Supreme Lord or connection with spirit, we have to start becoming detached from the results of the activities and the activity also. So that's what is the essential message here. And the effect of it will be, one will understand I am not this body, I am spirit soul, and he will realize. So Srila Prabhupada says in the 2.1 that this realization of Atma or Atma Sakshatkar, this realization is possible when one works without attachment to fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of self. So that is the whole purpose of this. As the example is given, when we act with knowledge, so means gradually the detachment will develop if when we act with knowledge. If only activity can bring out detachment, then everyone will become detached in this world. Right? But that is not the case. So when we do right activity with right knowledge, then just as the rice paddy is there in beginning, right? So there is only the outer shell. There is no rice. But as one waters properly, takes care properly, the rice starts coming in between, right? And eventually what happens? The full rice is there and then you remove it and use the rice. So that is what is the example of the right activity done with knowledge. So naturally the detachment will awaken in our heart. So under the direction of guide, if one does this, one will attain death and attain the Atma Sakshat. So this is the essential message of first six chapters. So having said that, now we enter into the most important section where we'll spend little more time than this before going to the last section. Right? So that is the middle six chapters. And that is what we want to actually perform. Right? So let us see, start beginning to see. So, but a doubt will come that what is the difference between these yogas? You said Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Yeah. So the difference has to be clearly understood in our consciousness. So can someone read what is Karma Yoga here? Please read in front of you. Anyone want to volunteer? Yes.
Karma
Anybody?
Yoga.
Ah,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
yeah. Mataji. Please read. Sundari Subhadra Mataji.
Karma Yoga. I want results, so I will perform activity. Result oriented with focus, emphasis on work, offer results in different proportions to Lord. Sakam Karma Yoga and Nishkam Karma Yoga.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. And what is Jnana Yoga? Please read.
Jnana Yoga. I don't want the result, so I don't work or perform particular activity. Focus on knowledge and reluctance to work. Non-fruitive result. Both elevate the practitioner, but both have inherent personal desires involved.
Yeah, so you can see that both are having certain personal desires involved. One is I want result, so I will be focused to do the work with expertise, etc. And work is the emphasis. And when one connects it to the Lord, so he starts offering. So Sakam Karma Yoga to Nishkam Karma. Right? Whereas Jnana Yoga also has certain, he doesn't want to enter into entanglement by doing activities. So I don't want to work, I don't want to get entangled. I'll just cultivate knowledge and attain liberation. So both have personal desires involved. And sure enough, they are yoga processes, authentic yoga processes. So one will be elevated in his detachment and realization of the truth of this world. However, what Krishna is trying to say in second chapter is Buddhi Yoga. So what is Buddhi Yoga? Yeah, please read.
Buddhi Yoga, chapter 2, shlok number 10. Combination of Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga without personal element, acting based on conviction and understanding of triple B, that is Bhakti, Bhakta, Bhakti and Bhagwan. Working principle of Bhakti Yoga is Nishkarmya.
Yeah, thank you. So that's how Buddhi Yoga is different than others. So Buddhi Yoga is a stretchable term which is there in second chapter and the 10th chapter also, right? Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti. To the degree, based on your understanding and conviction of Bhakta, Bhakti and Bhagwan, you act. And it has activity, it has knowledge. Both are there. But there is personal element is not there. That is Buddhi Yoga. Right? So that's what is the conscious endeavor of a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga. Or in other words, we can call it Bhakti Yoga also. Right? So that's the essential difference, which is telling us the essential aspect of Mukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakale Ashanta. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ataiva Shant. Right? So that's what is the, as I told in the beginning, right? So the goal is to practice pure devotional service of Bhagavad Gita. However, we can understand what is our adhikar and make progress towards that. That's the whole purpose of study of Bhagavad Gita. So this is the difference. Now 7 to 12. So now 7th chapter, a very essential truth is revealed here in the middle because Krishna personally starts speaking this chapter. Arjuna has not inquired anything. Krishna spoke the last verse. What is that? Yoginam api sarvesham madgate antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamamata. So he is the most perfect yogi, highest yogi. And Krishna starts speaking his characteristics on his own out of great compassion and affection for Arjuna. So here, right at outset, the essential message is told here. So earlier what was told is I am not this body, I am spirit soul. And do Nishkama Karma Yoga to attain the realization that I am not this body, I am spirit soul. I am not this matter. But now Krishna is revealing a secret here. That what is that secret in 7th chapter? Is all this matter is mine. Right? That's the beginning of 7th chapter. So I am not that, that is one thing, but whom it belongs to is what is the secret of the middle chapter, 7th chapter. Right? So 7 to 12 overall, let us see the titles and then we'll go to individual chapters to some extent. So he says that most important activity to attain asakti stage, mayyasakta manapartha yogam yunjan madashraya asamshayam samagram mama yathajnasyasi tachshrum. So my dear Arjuna, just hear the characteristics of the greatest yogi which I just now told you. And simply by hearing it from me and practicing, you will attain attachment for me. So the first 14 verses are telling that, right? So you can see this is the first secret which is revealed. That Krishna is telling, my dear Arjuna, भूमि रपो नलो वायु खम मनो बुद्धि रेवच अहंकार इति यम में भिन्ना प्रकृति रष्टदा. They are mine. Whatever you are seeing and interacting, this everything belongs to me. And you also belong to me. That is next verse. That is apareyam itastwanyam prakritim viddhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dhayate. So how everything is my energy. So everything is supposed to be used. Everything in this world is created by these two energies of mine. And the three modes are creating the states of existences. So 1 to 14 is the knowledge necessary for a person to attain the asakti stage. So we'll go into that chapter, but that is the first part. And then there are four kinds of people who don't surrender to Krishna and four kinds of people who surrender to Krishna. So the karma mishra bhakti. So there is a karma yoga and there is jnana yoga. And now 7th chapter, karma mishra bhakti and jnana mishra bhakti will be told. So four kinds of people who come to Krishna. So first three are karma mishra bhakti. Artha jidnyasu artharthi. One who is distressed, one who is inquisitive, and one who is artharthi, one who is desirer of resources or opulences. And Jnana Mishra Bhakta is the fourth one. And there is one Jnani Bhakta which Krishna likes. So how they attain, how a living entity comes in this world. So that is the 7th chapter. So 8th chapter is the Yoga Mishra Bhakti. The conditions for attaining absolute truth. What happens at the time of death of a person and how what he attains. So that mechanism, the law of last thought, yam yam api samanam bhavam, etc. That is in the beginning. And we have to practice the remembrance. So there are two methods of practice. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanna gamina. So what are those two methods? Yoga Mishra Bhakti and Kevala Bhakti. So Kevala Bhakti is indicated only in one or two verses. But Yoga Mishra Bhakti is elaborately spoken. And what time person dies and what he attains, that is also told. However, at the end of the chapter, the glory of Keval Bhakti is told. Right? And then the 9th chapter, which is most confidential knowledge, and the 10th chapter, the opulence of absolute truth. So I did mention about these two. So this is the most essential message. And then there is universal form and the Bhakti Yoga section, right? Bhakti Yoga in practice. So, to practice Bhakti Yoga properly, the pure devotional service, these five, understanding these five chapters is very important. And then Bhakti Yoga in practice. Then Krishna will tell, okay, this is what is the highest. If you cannot do this, you do this. If you cannot do this, you do this. Cannot do this, you do this. So it's a practice. What is to be practiced, Abhideya. That is told in 12th chapter. And what it should lead to, how Krishna likes development of qualities by the practice. So that is also told. So that is in brief. Now let us go a little into the chapters individual. So as I told, the seventh chapter describes the powers of the Lord, who is most worthy of worship, and four types of people who worship and who don't worship. Right? So that's what is told. So it is also called Bhagavad Jnana Vijnana Yoga. So knowledge of the Absolute, as titled by Srila Prabhupada. So first, initially it is told, it is like an advertise. It is like Krishna, being a best teacher, is telling that what is in it for you. If you want to attain asakti for me, then you just hear what I am speaking. And it's very rare that person understand what I am speaking. That is the third verse. Manushyanam sahastresh. Very few people are aware about my sweetness. There are many people who are aware about my greatness. So that's what is the third verse. And second verse is telling, my dear Arjuna, if you just know these two things, what is the verse? Yeah, Mayasakta Manapata Yogam Nanjan Malas Samchayam Samagrama Yatha Jnasasi Tachu Jnanam Teham Savidjnanam Idam Vakshamya Sheshata Yad Jnatva Neha Bhoyanyo Jnatavyam Avashishyat. So nothing else has to be known to you. If you know these two things, and that's what he's going to describe actually. That's why I was saying that to practice Bhakti Yoga properly, this 7 to 12 chapter, 7 to 11 chapters, or 12 chapter also. 12 chapter is actual practice, are very essential. So Krishna is telling just hear, sit and hear, that's all. And try to grasp what I am trying to say. Because it's very rare. Thousand among men can understand. Attain Siddhi, and among Siddhi, it's very rare. So the first secret is, which I told already, that Krishna is source of all whatever you see and experience in this world, including the spiritual. So spiritual and material energies, and controller of the three modes. And the essential secret is the surrender. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratya. Mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarante. So this is essential secret revealed by Krishna in the first 14 verses. By saying that everything in this world is maintained by Krishna, created by Krishna, and annihilated by Krishna. And the maintenance happens by his Shakti. His cause, all kinds of causes. The, the material cause, the efficient cause, and the ultimate cause. Everything is Krishna. And only by surrendering to Krishna we can come out of the influence of Maya, which influences us through the waves of modes in this world. This world is compared to an ocean. So there were the waves of Sattva Gun, waves of Rajogun, waves of Tamo are continuously hitting us. So only way is to surrender to Krishna. So that's what is told, to actually become attached to Krishna. So that's what he's telling in first 14 verses. So this person is the most intelligent person. And then he starts telling about the mixed devotion begins. So as I told, the Karma Mishra Bhakti and Jnana Mishra. The two classes of people. Those who are falsely intelligent, they don't surrender. And those who are actually intelligent, artha jidnyasu arthati beside. So falsely intelligent are who? Namam dushkutu no moodha prapadante naradama, etc. And demigod worshippers are less intelligent because they worship someone who is temporary for temporary benefit. And they are all destroyed along with the demigods. And impersonalists are having no intelligence. So that's how Krishna uses the words here, Alpa Buddhaya and Abuddhaya. And last part is also very important of this chapter, that how we get bound in this world. What is the cause of liberation? Cause of bondage is Ichcha and Dvesh. So these are the contaminations of mind. And the cause of liberation is to serve and please the great souls, the pure devotees. That is, Tesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moham vimukta bhajate mam dృఢవ్రతా. So this punya karma are the pleasing activities to the great souls, just as the hippies please Prabhupada without understanding much of what he was speaking, but they were elevated because of pleasing a pure devotee. That's what Krishna is revealing the secret here at the end of the seventh chapter. Having known the chant Dvesha as a cult, the bonding elements. And then the Jnana Mishra Bhakta is told, Sakam devotee who desires liberation. So that's how the seventh chapter is going. The next chapter is more or less answering the questions of Arjuna, which was the knowledge of Sakam Gyan Mishra Bhakta. So there are some 8 questions which Arjuna asked. What is Adhyatma, Adi Daiva, Adi Bhuta, etc. And Krishna answers them. That is the first part. And what is the second part? Lord tells 2 paths. One is Yoga Mishra Bhakti and other is Pure Bhakti. To actually attain. So what is the title of this chapter? Attaining the Absolute. So what happens at the time of death? So that is the 8th question of Arjuna. That how I can remember, how devotee can remember you at the time of death. So he tells 2 methods after telling the procedure. So these are the 6 questions. So 5 to 8 are the law of last thought, remembering Krishna at death. So this is the first method, this is the second method. Ananya Chintayanto Ma, no, Ananya Chetaha Satadam, Yomam Smarati Nityasha, Tasyaham Sulavaha Partha, Nityayuktasya Yogina. So that is what is told. And then the last part is to create an attraction is comparing material world and spiritual world. So those all verses come here so that one is encouraged to attain. And the last part is devotional service is topmost because one doesn't have to worry when he dies. In case of other cases, he has to, according to his time of death, year of death, or it depends, the destination depends. But for Bhakta, he doesn't have to worry. So that's the 8th chapter in brief. Now coming to the 9th chapter. So what is the difference? So this is all I already told. So 8th chapter, by following Yoga Mishra Bhakti, one can attain the realization of Paramatma picture of him, which is the just Amsha of the Supreme Lord. But Bhagwan can be approached only by Keval Bhakti. So that Bhagwan aspect, so Brahman aspect is what? By Nishkam Karma Yoga. One can attain Brahman. Paramatma is by Yoga Mishra Bhakti. But only by Keval Bhakti one can attain Bhagwan, and our aspiration is Swayam Bhagwan, Krishna. So in chapter 9, Bhakti is superior to Karma, Jnana and Yoga and other processes. As described in the 7th chapter, such Bhakti is either Pradhani Bhuta or Kevala. Among the types of Bhakti, the supreme position of Kevala Bhakti, which is extremely powerful, not dependent on purity of heart or other elements like knowledge, has clearly been shown. So 9th chapter, as I told you, it's the most powerful method and anyone can practice without any purity of heart, right? So that's what is the 9th chapter. So what Lord reveals in the most confidential knowledge is what is now being said. The ninth chapter, Lord speaks about his supreme powers. As I told, supreme power is twofold. One is Achintya Veda Ved. He is accessible and available for practitioner of pure devotional service. And the simplicity of practice of bhakti, patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, etc. So when we hear that, it can cause astonishment and the eagerness to do Keval Bhakti. So that is the first part, and the excellence of his devotee also. So apichet suduracharo and all that verses are there here. So where even if one commits mistake on this path, but if he is sincerely repenting, Lord will see him as sadhu. So that is great excellence of his devotee. So what is the breakup here is this. So most confidential knowledge, Raja Guhya Yoga or Ananya Bhakti Yoga. So the first part is again Krishna, whenever he's telling something important, he will tell you, like, the advertisement of it, that how rare it is, how glorious it is, how powerful it is. So that's how again he's speaking three verses, as he spoke in the first 7th chapter. So how rare it is. And my dear Arjuna, you are qualified to receive this knowledge. Why? Because idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshami anasuya. Because you are non-envious of me, I am revealing this most confidential knowledge to you. And that also has jnana, vijnana, samhita, etc. And then he speaks about Raj, that famous verse, Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam, Pavitram Ittamam, Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharnam, Susukam Kartumapya. How this process is very simply performed, it's the most pure process, can give the highest result, and it's the king of all secrets, and it is performed with great happiness. And third verse speaks about one has to have faith on the process. Those who don't have faith, they will continue to transmigrate in this world. The one who has developed faith, he will attain liberation. He will attain me. So Ashraddha Dana Purusha Dharma Sasya Parantapa. Those who don't have faith on this Keval Bhakti, Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartman. They will continue to be here in the matter world. Right? So that's how the first three verses tell. And then there is Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So Lord tells here from 4 to 10, especially 4, 5, 6. So this is what is one aspect of most confidential knowledge, which makes the process of Kevala Bhakti a very powerful one. Why? Because in this world, there are two conceptions of God which are not so conducive for practice, which are all pervading in many other religions and areas of this world. What are those? They are that Lord is far away and material world we are rotting here and suffering here. So this is one concept which is told by many religions, that the Lord is far away, he is there in his abode, and here we are away from him. So there is a too much distance between the Lord and the living entity. Whereas the other dangerous process is the other process is that Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Lord only. There is practically no difference between the two. We have to realize that I am God. So these two processes are not so conducive for progress. The Lord is too far, then where is the question of love? And if I am only the Lord, or I am like Lord, or whatever, I merge in Lord, then where is the question of love? Right? So the love becomes tangible when one understands this Achintya Veda, Veda of Lord. He is not too far, and we are different. So that is what is told in this particular. The most confidential knowledge is this one. So he tells from 4, 5, 6. He gives an analogy also. That, my dear Arjuna, see my Achintya Shakti. It's very difficult that, you know, everything is in me and I am in them, but I am still not in them. So what is this? So this cannot be understood by our intelligence. But Lord, he gives an analogy of wind actually being carried in ether. But wind and ether are unconscious. So there is no effect of wind on ether. Wind can have all the nasty smells or good smells, but ether has nothing to do with it. So there is detachment in both of them. So similarly, Lord is there in the material world, but still he is completely indifferent and detached. However, the same Lord says that, you know, Nachamastani bhutani pashyame yogamaj. I am not in them. And then Lord reveals the secret that Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. This is Bhagavan aspect actually. What is Bhagavan? Is this. Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu Name Dveshyostina Priya Ye Bhajanti Tumam Bhaktya Mai Teteshu Chapya. So I am in them and they are in me. Again he says. So who are they? They are the devotees who are practicing pure devotional service. So they are in the Lord means what? Lord can reciprocate with them. They are in the thought of Lord because they are thinking about Lord always. So Lord is thinking about them always. So this is his accessibility and availability for anyone and everyone. So this is the most confidential knowledge revealed in the 9th chapter. The inconceivable relationship between Lord and the material. So he is not that he is enjoying in Golok, he has nothing to do with here. No. If one is practicing remembering him, he is there for you. Maite Tishu Chapya. So Lord becomes partial to reciprocate with such devotees. Right? So that's the subject matter of this chapter actually. And then there are other who deride this form of Bhagavan. So when Lord is accepted two-handed form of Krishna, there are people who don't accept that. They accept Narayan, they accept everything else. But they deride Krishna's form. He was just a great person, you know, some mystic powers. But we don't believe. So they deride us. Their everything is futile. That is told. And the lower worshippers, another level of mixed devotees. Right? The 4 types of mixed devotees we saw. There are another 3 types of mixed devotees are told here. And their attainments are temporary and devotees' attainments are eternal. That is also told here. So 26 to 34 is the very, as I told, the last part of the 9th chapter and the first part of the 10th chapter is the more confidential. So that is what is the essential. So the direct worship of Krishna is so easy. So it begins with Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, etc. These verses, Yat Karoshi, Yadasnashi, Yat Josi Dadasi, etc. Towards the end of no, Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyajima Namaskuru. So that's this chapter. So knowledge of this chapter should incite and encourage us to practice Kevala Bhakti because there is accessibility and intervention or there is opportunity to invoke the presence of Bhagwan. So that's what is the most confidential one. So going further, the 10th chapter, which is another most important part. So what is told here is further opulences of Lord are told. Like what is the title of this chapter? The opulence of absolute truth, right? So more we understand whom we are trying to love and his powers to in the beginning, then more we become further inspired and nourished to reciprocate and serve. That's the whole purpose of this chapter. So Lord's Aishwarya, a cause of bhakti, which was discussed in the 7th and 8th and 9th chapters. So Lord's Shakti was explained, but now it is elaborately spoken because Arjuna asked the Supreme Lord. Right? So it's a further supported in the 10th chapter with description of his vibhutis. So vibhutis means what? Lord's influences in the material world. Vibhuti means something from material world. So the rest, the second part of the chapter is vibhutis. And the Lord's Aishwarya will be told in the first 7 verses. So pure devotion resides in perfect knowledge of Supreme. So this is very important. As I was telling you, that pure devotion can be practiced with this understanding. So although pure devotion can be practiced by anyone and everyone, irrespective of impurity of heart or background, but this knowledge of pure devotion is essential to properly practice pure devotion. Right? So that's what is told in first 7 verses. Then the most amazing part, which is the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, the entirety of Bhagavad Gita in 4 verses. So what it says is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo Mattaha Sarvam Pravartati Iti Matva Vajante Mam Uda Bhava Samanvita. So anyone who understands with conviction, Matva means manta hai, sab janta nahi, Matva. What he knows that Krishna is source of everything. He is the material cause of everything I see, experience, touch, smell, etc. And he is maintaining everything. Like for example, there is here fruit, lychee fruit is there. So everything is maintained. The life of this fruit is maintained by Krishna. That's why it gets spoiled after few hours. Something gets spoiled after few days. So mattaha sarvam pravartate. The efficient cause is also Krishna. So one who understands this with conviction, he will cannot not worship me with bhava, buddha bhava samanvita. Such intelligent person will with great emotion will worship me. Right? That's why we have to understand the previous these chapters which I told, the 9th and the 10th. So what is the first knowledge is about how about knowledge of Krishna is so rare that even the Devitas don't know. Name vidu suraganaha prabhavancha maharsha. No one knows actually. Only because they are not created. How they can know Krishna? He was existing before. How sages can know without? So Krishna is revealing that. So here the 7th verse is very important, which is just 1 verse before Chatushloki. That is etam vibhutim cha yogam cha evam mam vetti tatvatah sa avikalpena yogena yujyate natra samshaya. So if we want to become fixed up devotees, if we want to become steady devotees in our practices, we need to understand these two things clearly in tattvata. Etam vibhutim cha yogam cha. So that's what pure devotion resides in perfect knowledge of Supreme. So we should try to understand. So that is the first verse, and the second verse is the essential practice of perfected devotees, which can be practiced by sadhakas like all of us. That is Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantaha Paraspara. So we discuss about Krishna, enlighten each other about Krishna. And in that we find satisfaction. And then if we are ignorant, no problem, just engage. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. 10th verse. Dadami buddhyo. I will give. A sincere devotee can never remain ignorant. He will be given knowledge by Krishna from within. And then 12th verse is the mechanism. Krishna in the heart will put on the light. Tesham evanukam partham. Aham ajnanadam tam. Nashayami atma bhavaso jnanadipena bhasvata. So this Chatushloki is the essential message. And then Arjuna surrenders. Actually, here his all questions are over in one sense. Now he accepts him as the Supreme Lord, Brahma, Param Dhama, etc. And then he requests for all of us that how am I to remember you, my Lord, in this material world? Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintosi bhagavan maya. So then Lord tells his vibhutis. So vibhutis means Lord's manifestations in this world. So the best of everything, the essence of everything, and source of everything is Krishna. That's what is his opulence. So now Krishna speaks in this chapter, and in the next chapter, Arjuna is shown that. That is called Virat Roop. That is like video with audio. So this greatness of Krishna in the material world is a very essential aspect of practice. So that's what is the second part of 10th chapter in the form of hearing. And the 11th, the entire chapter is what? Virat Roop Darshan, right? So that is nothing but Krishna is showing his opulence, right? In terms of time and space. For a surrendered devotee, Lord is showing everything. So that is the 11th chapter, which not discussed much. So essentially, you see that how the middle portion is most confidential, the Shuddha Bhakta. So the 11th chapter. So seeing the universal form, Arjuna is frightened and begins to praise that form. And by showing his original form, the Lord gives bliss to Arjuna. So essential point in this chapter is to understand the opulence of Krishna and become convinced about it. That this is how Krishna reciprocates. That Krishna showed, so same way Prabhupada was also showed. Prabhupada was talking with one person on bench. No? Prabhupada said, there are so many temples, there are so many devotees, just time is separating. So that kind of conviction. So Arjuna was also shown. So he was told that you just become an instrument, that's all. All this Bhishma, Drona, they are already dead bodies. When they touched Draupadi's hair, that time only I killed all of them. But now they are walking dead bodies, but they are walking to give you the credit. So just to become an instrument. So this is the essential message of this chapter. That having understood Krishna's glorious, vibhutis and universal form, we should become an instrument in hand of spiritual masters. Right? So there is, and we have to understand that this chapter is not that this is not for the devotees. The sense is this chapter shows the tastes of devotees. Right? The rasa is told in this chapter. Adbhut rasa is told. Arjuna becomes bewildered. And Arjuna's liking is Krishna. So Arjuna was given the Divya Drushti. So he had Prema Drushti, but he was given Divya Drushti to see. So Arjuna asked this question to establish Krishna's supremacy. Right? So so we also have to become convinced about Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasava Bhritya. Yare Aiche Nachale Taiche Kare Nritya. Including the four-handed form of Krishna which is in Dwarka and all other forms of Vishnu, they are all sources coming from here. So that's what is this chapter. And Krishna eventually takes away that vision and shows his sweetest form of two hands. And he retains his friend because Krishna did not give transit Divya mind to him. He just gave what? He gave Divya Chakshu only, not Divya mind. That's why he didn't like. Right? So his prayers are there. So this is how. Now the practice of devotional service. Susadhya Bhakti Yoga or devotional service. As I said. So here the last portion is how devotees are higher than impersonalists. That is the subject matter. Arjuna asked the question, who are better? So Krishna says, I personally deliver my devotees. And the other method is quite klesha adhikarastesha. So devotees are better. And then Krishna's four options to serve. So this is called love. Love means options. Love means no force. Can't do this, you do this. And then what is dear to Krishna? The different beautiful qualities as a developed as a devotional service. Hmm? So these are described qualities for the purpose of hearing about them and how these qualities are depicted by different devotees. That's what is the purpose. Purpose is not start cultivating those qualities. The cultivation is to be of pure devotion only. But in the cultivation of pure devotion, we hear about the pure devotees. They depict all these qualities. Right? So that's the method. So the stages, so Premi Bhaktas who are very advanced and the surrendered souls, that is ninth verse, they practice Abhyas Yoga and the next 10th. And 11th verse actually is the Nishkama Karma Yoga only. If you can't do this, so that's how these are stages. Wherever one is, he can engage his subtle body or he can engage his gross body in actions. So there is no problem. Wherever we are, we from our place, with our pace, we have to join the race of trying to practice pure devotional service. So that's what is this yoga. So this is not required. So that's how this ends. This kind of thing. This middle 6 chapters. Now quickly we'll go through the remaining chapters, which is Gyan Yoga section. So it's a supporting section to Bhakti actually. So it's a technical analysis of the elements and like these 5 subject matters like Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. So it begins with the 2 chapters, right? 13th chapter is nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. Right? So it's analysis that 3 modes of material nature, and then the 15th chapter, right? So it's a more of analysis, and it surely helps us to practice bhakti. So it's not a thing to be neglected. It can enhance the practice of pure devotion. So this will not see now. Skip it. Yeah. So 13th chapter, 13 to 18. So this is all is described, which I said it's an analysis. For excise natures of jiva and all is discussed here. The last part you can see. So yes, so let us see. Nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. So Prakriti Purush Vibhaga Yoga. So in this basically what is told, 2 lines if we can understand. That both Jiva and the Lord are situated in the body. 2 Kshetrajnas are there. One is this, we as a soul, and the Supreme Lord as Sarva Kshetrajna. So Jiva joined to the qualities of body, he becomes bound up. But when he becomes liberated by understanding the Lord, this is the method, this is the message. And we need to understand this. How he becomes bound up and how he becomes liberated. So succeed verse is Purushaha Prakritisto hi Bhute Prakriti Jan Guna Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasat Yoni Janmas. So these 6 questions are asked and they are answered individually, technically, right? What is Prakriti, what is Purusha, what is Kshetra, what is Kshetrajna, what is Jnana, what is Niya? So the process of knowledge and object of knowledge. So that object of knowledge is Paramatma. Process of knowledge is Amanitvam Adambitvam. So that's what is the subject matter here. So that's how this chapter is there. The next chapter is 14th chapter, the 3 modes of material nature. This is another very confidential information in Bhagavad Gita, which tells us the 3 ropes that bind us. They are very invisible ropes, but they are subtly act and they compete. So in this previous chapter is what described that Jiva with the body made up of 3 modes is cause of taking repeated births. पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गस्य सदस्य योनिजन्मसु, right? It takes transmigrates. So what type of results come from contact with the three modes? What are the symptoms of those who are associated with different modes? And how to one get liberated from these three modes? So these are questions are answered in this chapter, right? So the symptoms of modes. So he glorifies the knowledge as to be very confidential also. And the three modes and their effects and how transcend these modes by discriminating knowledge. And the symptoms of such a person who has beyond the knowledge. So that's what is this chapter, which is another very important chapter. So this we should try to witness in our own life, that how we are conducted by modes. So all the symptoms are told, right? Because we invite these modes. So it's just like one example was given by my spiritual master that actually see child, some many times child commits mistake. So if child is punished by the parents, then child can improve, right? But if he is punished without telling why he is punished, then he gets bewildered, right? Similarly, the Supreme Lord, he punishes us when we engage in wrong activities. At the same time, he enlightens us also, like a father. So when a child is told that you have done this wrong because you have done this thing, then child is not bewildered. He wants to reform. So that's the purpose, that to understand this knowledge. That Lord in form of scriptures is coming and teaching us. And through the external energy, he might punish us in different ways. So that's why this chapter is important to see. So then everything we learn and develop faith and conviction on Krishna's message, right? When we just as the child. So that's what, because Mother Nature acts through three modes and teaches us also to make proper decisions and to obey and to please Father, right? So then we can act accordingly. And we don't mix our bhakti with this influence of three modes, right? There are 81 types of bhakti. So that is what is the subject matter. And then 15th and the most famous chapter in India, right? So this is the Purushottam Yoga. So this is another most smallest chapter in Bhagavad Gita, but very, very powerful and important chapter. So what is answered here is, what is this material world is all about? It's made up of three modes. Okay, so it is Urdhva Moolam Adashya. It is perverted reflection of spiritual world. And there are all entanglements. Where it began with desire. The water of desire, the reflection begin with desire. Who is that jiva who surpasses nirmana moha jita sangha dosha? The qualification. And you also spoke of jiva being qualified. What is that Brahman? Brahmano hi pratishtha. Who are you? That also is told. So there is three shloki Bhagavad Gita here, as told by Ramanuja, from 17, 18, 19, I think, there. Summary of Vedanta Sutra is given. So this is how this chapter is there. So here the essential message for devotees is how one has to practice detachment, right? By to cut the tree of this material world in our own life. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena tu buddhi. Practice detachment. And second thing is how one transmigrates. And this 12 to 15 is very essential. It's very tangible that how the Supreme Lord from time immemorial, he is arranging for all our material enjoyment. So he is putting on lights in this dark world so that we can see the sense of this. Aham adityagatam tejo jagat bhasayate khilam. And then he is entering into the vegetables and fruits to give the juice. Yet Chandramasi Yachagano Tat Tejo Vidhi Mamakam. So he is enlightening this dark world with sun and moon. Then what he is doing? He is entering into the earth to create the places of enjoyment for all of us. The parks and so many lakes and everything else. Otherwise, it cannot stand. The earth in the fist cannot have power to sustain. So Lord enters and he enters through soma as fruits, fruit juice, so that we can enjoy some things. Right? And then what we do? The next chapter is we eat something, and then Lord comes as digestive fire also to digest the food what we have. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashita Pranapana Samayukta Pachamana Chaturudam. And on top of all these arrangements, he reminds us of our desires of enjoyment as a Paramatma. Sarvasya Chaham Hriday Sannivishto Mattah Smriti Jnanam Apo. So this all arrangement is done in the background by the Supreme Lord out of his pure love for living entity, without any expectation. He is giving full freedom. However, the same Lord attains for liberation by coming in form of Veda literature. Vedescha sarvai aham veddu. And then what is how to attain liberation? So he gives summary of Vedanta Sutta. So that is what is the last verse. So that's how in this chapter various classes of matter and conscious entities and the supreme position of Krishna has been explained. To the Lord, by the Lord who acts as servant. So Lord is showing here that how he is unconditionally serving everyone. So his demand of pure devotion from us is not at all any exaggeration. He is doing it. Right? So that's what is this chapter. And then 16th chapter is about the divine and demoniac nature. So this tree is there. There are two kinds of fruits. So there are two varieties of fruits of this Ashwatha tree. So there is divine nature 1 to 6 and 7 to 22 is demoniac nature. Dambodharpo Abhimanas. And how one can escape hell and attaining the supreme destination. That is 16th chapter. And 17th chapter is about the people who don't follow scriptures but they worship someone. So what is their situation, how they progress? So they have to come to Sattva Guna and come to practice of Shastriya Shraddha. So what are their natures, what they eat, what they do sacrifice, how they do austerity, what charity they do. So all that is explained and how they have to come to level of goodness. That is real Shraddha. Passion and ignorance is not helpful actually. So rejecting faith arising from one's impressions, one who takes shelter of faith arising from scripture, like Om Tat Sat, right, will be qualified for the highest. So that faith which is born from Swabhava has to raise to the level of Shastra. Right. So this is the message. And the 18th chapter is again the summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita, which just now we discussed. So here practically all things are given. Summarizing all aspects of the Gita, the Lord speaks about the most secret aspect of devotion and surrender within devotion. That is the last part. Right? So he begins by telling about Karma Yoga. So first 48 verses are like in relation to Karma Yoga. Right? So work. So you recently discussed this, right? 18th chapter. So how one get entangled in modes. How there are 5 factors of action. That is first 18 verses. Work combined with knowledge brings liberation. How one gets entangled in the doer in 3 modes, action in 3 modes, determination in 3 modes, happiness in 3 modes, and all that. Right? So that is what is 19 to 40. And then how by worship one can worship the Lord by his prescribed duties. samsiddhim labhate para. Swakarmana tam abhyarch. So that's what is told, 41 to 48. So the Varna and Ashrama's duties are also told here. Then how Jnana Yogi attains liberation and his process. And then how devotee attains Lord's abode and most confidential secret. So from 56 to 66. So 65 and 66 are the most confidential thing, secret aspect of Sharanagati. And then there is Falashruti, preaching and studying Bhagavad Gita. Who can do, whom to preach, whom not to preach, etc. And then Arjuna becomes very confident now. Karishya Vachanam Tava. So I had to act according to Krishna's instruction. And then Sanjaya's expression and prediction. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruvanitir Matirma. So that's how this entire treatise of Bhagavad Gita is told. So as I told that actually essential aspect is pure devotional service, and it can be called as Buddhi Yoga also. When one understands by intelligence, then he can act in a pure way with impure heart, because every one of us is conditioned in this world. So first pure faith has to awaken. That pure faith will make our heart pure. That's what is the message actually of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And the pure devotion is told in the 66 and 65 and 66. Man manabhava mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru. Mamai vaishyati satyam te pratijani priyose. My dear Arjuna, you are very dear to me. You do these four things and you will surely come to me. What about the sinful activities? Sarva dharman parityajya. Mamekam sharanam vraj. Mamekam means only me. No other mixture. In sadhana or the process, no other mixture in the sadhya, the object, and no other mixture in the aradhya, the object of worship. Prabhupada writes there that one should not get to worship even the incarnations like Narsimha, Vamana, Rama, etc. One should focus on Sham Sundar form of Krishna. So Mam Ekam means that. Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraj. Then one can approach the Golok Vrindavan as Prabhupada is told. Right? So that is what is, and don't fear. So anyone and everyone is qualified to practice pure devotional service, provided they come in touch with pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada and his true followers. So that's the message of the entire content of Bhagavad Gita. And coming back to the goal, so goal of entire Bhagavad Gita is to attain love of God. So that's what, and the whole thing is spoken for that. Otherwise, all encompassing emotion of this world is fear. And fear is because of not seeing Krishna. So Krishna is telling how to see him in this material world. So we have to, in understanding the middle chapters, we should try to see Krishna while experiencing this world. Remember Krishna and serve Krishna and love Krishna. So that's the whole goal of this. And then fear will get elevated because we are able to perceive Krishna. Right? So that's what is the whole purpose of this treatise. So I try to explain in one sense philosophical way. So uh, now we have few minutes, I think, if at all some discussion is required. It's 7:15. Okay, so thank you all very much for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna. If anything is there, please let me know. Yes, you can do what? Anything?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. First time I have heard the complete Bhagavad Gita in uh, such an essence form, such a short time. You gave the complete summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. It was really nice to hear that right from essence of all Vedas is Bhagavad Gita, and from Bhagavad Gita to chapters, chapter to the verses, and then you entered each of the chapters in each of the sections. Very nicely you have explained. I think we'll have to, we have recorded this, so we'll have to go through each of them again to really grasp everything and internalize it. So, really grateful. I think you quoted each and every section, you quoted very nice verses as well as gave very nice analogies of child and parent. So that we can understand. Thank you so much. So, I think we have some time. So, if devotees have questions, they can unmute themselves and ask.
So first of all, I am also grateful to all of you because I have never spoke this anywhere. 2 hours entire Bhagavad Gita. So because of you, I could think about it. So I am grateful to all of you. Yes. So in case any reflections, any comments, questions, clarifications, they can be. We have few minutes at hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Actually, it was really relishing to have entire Bhagavad Gita in 2 hours. Thank you so much for that. And it was really, really very comprehensive. So once again, thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, the last point that even we understand the crux of Gita as 18.66, that Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja. So right now, I heard that you said that we have to focus on Shyam Sundar. Carnations also, we have to like incline from that to Shyam Sundar form. But
Yes.
Prabhuji, we see that most of the time, mostly in the times of hardships, we automatically recite Narsing Kavach, or even in temples, we see Narsinga Havan whenever we go for something new, like temple inauguration or deity installation. So how do we understand this? Like, because practically we are doing Narsinga Seva, and as well as we are in times of danger or in times of fear, we are actually remembering Lord Narsimha. So how do we understand these two things?
Yeah, so it's a very nice thing you have asked. So actually, it was Prabhupada who instituted Narasimharti, and Narasimha Dev is worshipped even by the Sachimata and this. It is there in where in Yog Pit also, even in Vrindavan. So what should be the mood of worship, even if we, because Prabhupada it did that, right? Because he protects in this age of Kali, there are great attacks on devotees in different ways, subtly, grossly. So, Narsingh Dev is one who will protect us from the gross and subtle broad dangers, including anarthas and the dangers of this world. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells us what we should pray. So, those prayers can be seen. And that mode we approach, there is no problem in that. So that mode can be understood and it can be approached. For developing love and servitude to Radha Krishna, we pray to Narsingh Dev to purify our heart from the anarthas. That's the way Bhaktivinoda Thakur has prayed actually. And he has, I think it is there in Krishna Samhita or some book. No, Navdi Bhavataranga. There are prayers by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So that's the best mode actually in order to approach our worshipable Radha Krishna while worshipping Narsingh Dev for protection. So that's how we should approach Mataji. So our goal should be Radha Krishna worship only with that. These are your thoughts. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur's prayers can be seen, Mataji, for that from Navdeep Bhavataranga.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that reference.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry to interrupt you. This is Vaikunt Bihari Das.
Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I have a question about the means crossing the three gunas, and that is a superior method of doing. Is a superior method to as compared to any other method. So Could you please elaborate on this?
Crossing the three modes.
Yeah.
So what is the question?
My question is that there are so many methods, but this method is superior to the all other methods that was mentioned in Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. So actually, that's what is the pure devotional service is the most easiest, shortest way to transcend the modes. And the essence of practical application of the pure devotional service is Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittite Kriya. So because the instructions of Guru are coming from transcendental platform. So if you are consciously executing the instructions, you are holding the rope of transcendence. So when you are consciously following, you are beyond three modes. Only thing is, person like me, we can't consciously be practicing 24 by 7. So that's why we get affected by the three modes. So the rope which is coming from transcendent devotees, their instructions are like ropes which we hear, hold, then we no more touch. Consciously hold means consciously execute the instruction given by the gurus. Then we can be beyond the modes. And gradually, as I told that we initially hold a little bit for half an hour, then 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. Like as we from day one of bhakti until now, it has been increasing, right? So that's how we gradually become transcendental. So right now also when we are consciously following, we are beyond three modes. But as soon as we leave that rope, then we are under modes. So the modes, as I told you, the modes are like waves. We are in ocean of material existence. And the three waves come to us. So sattva gun means let me do good for the world. Let me help others. Let me be peaceful. Let me be dutiful. Let me be responsible. Now such thought comes. And then what happens after some time, some sense objects are there. Then that waves hits us. Let me enjoy senses now. Why so much restriction? No? Let me let me enjoy senses to the best extent. No? And let me control. No? So this is like mode of passion wave. And then mode of ignorance wave will come. To want to be lazy, want to sleep more, or want to do some intoxication, etc. Or procrastinate things. So we are always affected by the waves. And even if we are not affected, someone with waves come that gets affected to us. Right? We are traveling, we are wandering in this world, right? So we may not be having, but someone else, like in train you travel. So all people are sleeping, right? Most of the time. So it affects us, even if we are studying, because the atmosphere is like that. So it's easier said than done. So to the degree we are consciously executing the instructions, to that degree the waves will little bit move us, but not like the boat on the uh, bank of a ocean or river. If it is put anchored, then the boat will move, but it will not topple. So that's the process. So pure devotional service, we try to do whatever is told by foundational by Srila Prabhupada and specific by our spiritual master. And we, to that degree, we do that. And in that, one of the important thing is these things which you are doing now. The study of Srila Prabhupada books. So that, because such questions are asked, now Arjuna only asked the question in 14th chapter, what you asked. That, that answer can be seen. So there he says in essence this only. What is that? Uh, that verse, no? You can see that 1426, I think, which I just elaborated actually. That is 1426 is the verse which Arjuna is asking how to transcend. So Krishna is telling that you do this. So this is our sincere endeavor. Mam cha yo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So this is our sincere endeavor, Prabhu, in whatever state we are. So these are a few things. So, does that make sense, Prabhu?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Anything else? Anyone else has? About
I have one more question, and that is related to exam. I was supposed to ask to Anant Vijay Prabhu. So, Prabhuji, it is from 14.27. The analogy of king and his servants to enjoy on equal level is given. So, I was not
14
able to
point?
complete. 14.27.
27.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
So,
The
the
servant.
analogy is given.
Yeah.
King and his servant enjoy on the equal level.
Yeah, the Supreme Lord is full in six opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of the six opulences. The servant and the king enjoys on the almost equal level with the king. Hmm. And so the eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and the eternal life accompany devotional service. Yeah. Yes, Mataji. So,
So, Prabhuji, I am not able to comprehend this because whenever we understand our position, so we always understand it like we are the eternal servitor and Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So, how to assimilate this analogy? I was not able to make it.
so Srila Prabhupada is saying, na, see, you become friends with Prime Minister, then you start staying with Prime Minister. Then naturally, whatever he eats, you will eat. Whatever he does, you will do. Right? So, in the same way, Krishna, when one becomes servant of Krishna, then Krishna shares his opulences. But the devotee doesn't want them. That's the point. So this Lord says to Durvas Muni also, that I can't enjoy my opulences without devotees. He says that. Because Lord doesn't, what is enjoyment of Lord is to share that with his devotees and relish it. Relationship is the exchange of the joy is in the relationship, Mataji. Joy is in not possessing the opulence. That's what is being said by the Supreme Lord, actually. Hmm. So that is, I believe, 6.9 point. I don't remember the verse number, but the understanding is that Lord possesses opulences and He shares opulences. And here it is what Prabhupada is saying, that Supreme Lord He shares with the opulences, right? Hmm. So now the highest opulences are shared with the highest devotees. Who are the highest devotees? Yes,
Rajvasis,
yes. Who are highest among them?
Gopis.
Yeah, so Krishna is empowering them with all opulences to actually exchange love with him in form of all kinds of knowledge, skills, abilities, and everything actually, because of their purity of intention to please you. So there is one verse which says that in Bhagavata. Bhishma Pitamaha is praying in his prayers in 1.9. So this kind of sharing opulences that doesn't take away the mood of seva. Rather, he can do seva more properly and more intimately with the Lord. Like when you go to Vaikuntha means what? Vaikuntha is to actually four-ended form and all that is there. Right? So the opulences in terms of, we have to understand that the servitude is not at all gone by the opulences being shared, right? So when we say Ardhangini, for example, what does that mean? So Prime Minister has some opulences, right? So the wife of Prime Minister is servant of her husband or not?
Yes.
So what about her? So she shares, right? Husband
Hmm.
share because she's Ardhangini. So similarly for Krishna, all Brajvasis are like that. So
Yes.
that way the Lord shares, and he actually his desire is that only. He's inviting everyone that you come, I will share everything with you. I will actually, you can control me also. Hmm. That is the highest in Vrindavan. Other place he doesn't allow that. Vrindavan he says, I don't want to be God. I
Yes.
just you control me, and that's why he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Because he's seeing the devotees are relishing more. Srimati Radharani is more happier than me. She's seeing me, and so I want to know what. So this is that's why Srila Prabhupada says actually that these impersonalist fellows want to become God, you know. But devotees become greater than that to control that God. But this is not in the mood of Mayavadis. But this is out of pure unalloyed love. So they exchange love with God without Godhood. That is Vrindavan. So this is my little understanding, Mataji. As here Prabhupada is saying that the Supreme Lord is full in his six opulences. So Krishna depicts all that in the highest degree. And when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these six opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on the almost equal level with the king. So he also stays, that the servant also stays there. Na? There is servant quarter. Right? Even in this material world, if someone is serving a great soul, so he's serving the great soul, that's why he arranges for everything, right? So the eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, eternal life accompany devotional service. So I hope it gives some clarity. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji, very much. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes, two more hands are up here. Please go ahead.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to know if you can help me with this analogy. 13.17, the example of sun. The example is given of the sun. The sun
Third,
at the meridian is situated in its place, but
13.7. Wait a minute, Prabhu. I have not given exams like you. Now, I gave long back. I don't remember.
Should
Those
I
things.
share the screen?
thank
So, yes, 13.7. I opened the purport, Prabhu.
13.17, Prabhuji.
17. Huh?
Ji, 1 second. Yes.
Okay. Although the super soul appears to be divided, the Lord is situated in everyone's heart as super soul. Does it mean that he has become divided? No. Actually, he is one. The example is given of sun. The sun at the meridian is situated in its place. But if one goes for 5,000 miles in all directions and asks, where is the sun? Everyone will say that it is shining on his head. In the Vedic literature, this example is given to show that although he is undivided, he is situated as if divided. So this is what Prabhupada is saying, bro. So what is your doubt about this?
No, I got it, Prabhuji. Actually, the 5,000 mile, I thought that not in the horizontal direction, but vertical direction. I thought that if someone goes and sun is on head, so I made it something different. I got it right now.
Now you got clear, Hari Bol.
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Just by reading. Amazing. So anyway, just to clarify more, just as like there is another way, na? If you have 5 buckets, the sun will reflect in that, but sun is one only. So although it appears divided, but it is not divided. Okay. So fine though. Great. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, Mother Isha Avde, you have something.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Prabhuji, so I had the question. Krishna mentions that he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and we are his eternal fragmented parts, and we have the free will to be as we want, right? But ultimately at the end he says, like how you said, Sarva Dharman Parityaja. So we have to take his sharan. So why does the free will come in picture? Like what free will do we have to do what? I mean, there is no free will, right?
Free will is there. That's why right now, where is I am not fully surrendered. Then so many people are freely wandering without surrender. That is the free will. Whole material world with so much varieties is created for free will of you and me. So
But then you
many
want
varieties of pleasures. Can you imagine? 84 lakh species are made just for sake of one desire of every living entity. He wants to enjoy this way. Okay, take this body. Try to enjoy. Desire to enjoy in other way. Here is a place for you, and here you can try your best, to be to execute your free will here. Because in spiritual world it is not possible, right? So he has created a separate place for you and me and all of us, and so much of variety, and he is hiding himself and is giving you experience what you want, right? I explained from the 15th chapter, right? You heard that part that Krishna is arranging for enjoyments of you, me, and everyone else from time immemorial without knowledge. Did you hear that part, Mataji?
yes, Prabhu. But the point is like we are not going to be happy even if we'll be here.
No, that you are saying because you have heard about Bhakti. But there are people who are think that they are happy, like Hiranyakashipu is there. So that's how Lord has created. So it's a reformatory place, but if you want to reform, then you will become reformed. If you want to be here, you can be here. This is free will. This is his respect for living entities, free will. Can you imagine how much he has respect? That he is there in the heart of everyone, even atheist. And he is giving him conviction to write so many books on non-existence of him. Who is giving inspiration and guidance to write atheist philosophy? Is it not the free will of the Supreme Lord? So many philosophies are there. So from where the intelligence is coming from? Coming from Paramatma. So he is facilitating all the desires of all living entities here. So it is not that there is no free will. It is all free will in this material world. However, what you meant to say was that why don't he create a world where I can be happy without him? So that is not possible, Mataji. That's why. Because inherently, Mama Vansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Mana Shasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karsha. So constitutional it is not possible. So he has given us a facility where we can try, where he remains hidden, and he provides all facilities, and the what not orna instruments also he is giving. Na? This material body is giving so that we can enjoy matter. Actually, we are spirit. How can we enjoy matter? So he is creating all the facility for us. So one can become whatever he wants here. So this is my understanding, Mataji. Does that make some sense, Mataji, or you have something more to say?
Little bit prosy, but
Yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
I always think of that picture we have in our book, right, where Maya is playing with us like puppets. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that picture I showed. Yeah.
or it's going to be Krishna, right? So we
Well,
have to surrender to Krishna and we do like no offense, Prabhuji, but we have to surrender to him. So
to be eternally happy.
and be eternally
Have
happy.
to
So
what to do. That is our constitutional position. There is no other option. There is only one Krishna, and there are innumerable souls. So that's. But it's not have to. Mm,
So
That's
we are Satchidanand, souls have that thing. We want to be happy, right? So we don't want to be unhappy. Like stay here and be unhappy.
yeah. Then there is Brahman option also is there where there So Krishna has created that also. That okay, some people want to shanti, shanti, shanti. Okay, enjoy Brahmananda, no problem.
But Prabhupada then say that from Brahman platform it will fall down for sure. So what is the benefit?
So same Prabhupada said that we were with Krishna also, right? So if we can leave Krishna and come, then what is the problem with Brahma Jyoti coming? So in love, there is no have to Mataji. Love means freedom. Love means options. That's why Krishna is giving so many options. That is called love. So he has love for each and every one of us. Unconditional, unmotivated, constant love. He is making plans for it. So this is his nature. He is not going to give up. That's what Gajendra says. He is, what is that? Madruk prapanna pashupasha vimokshanaya muktaya bhuri karunaya namo lalaya. स्वांशेन सर्वतनुभृंग मनसी प्रतीत प्रत्यक दिशे भगवते बृहते नमः. The Namo Alalaya means what? He is incessantly wanting us to be liberated. Because it's like a child, I don't know, I gave example here or like child is seeing tiger in dream, right? Did I give this example?
No, not in this.
So like child is seeing tiger and becoming fearful, like this Mataji. What is her name? Now he is there with you. She is there with you.
Ridya.
Huh?
Ridya.
So Ridya is sleeping and she gets dream or not. Hmm? And she sees a tiger in the dream and she becomes very fearful and sweat comes and then Shikanpu is seeing her. Hmm? And what Shikanpu will do, just wake her up. There is no tiger. It's all reality here. Hmm? So that's what Krishna is arranging for everything in the dream also. He's coming in a dream and arranging. But he wants us to wake up to the reality. Because reality is the spiritual existence. And that is so one neutral reality is Brahman there, where you don't have to serve. Otherwise, there are options to service also in Vaikuntha, so many options. So all your desires, there are places, Mataji, where you can situate, anyone can situate himself. So that is what is Krishna doing. So he feels great pain that person is feeling distressed in his dream because it's not real. So he tries to arrange all the means, but he gives freedom. He doesn't force. That is the symptom of love.
Actually, one small question I had, you mentioned about efficient cause multiple times. I wanted to know what does that mean?
Efficient cause means like no pot and potter is there, right? Analogy. So there is something called material cause. Means what? The clay and the water and all that is material cause of the pot. And the efficient cause of the pot is the setup of the wheel and the rod, right? That is the efficient cause. It is called so upadan karan, not upadan karan, nimitta karan. Upadan karan is material cause, clay. Hmm? So that is efficient cause. So what I mean to say efficient cause, I was giving example of this fruit, right? Cherry. Now, this cherry's state of existence is maintained by Krishna. That's why after some time it will get spoiled, right? Can you control that? So this is efficient cause means he keeps things in a state of existence. Like the hair are white to the some extent, afterward they become black. Or you get Son Papdi from Vrindavan, so it will stay for a few days. After that, it will spoil. So who is deciding this? So efficient cause means the cause which is maintaining the thing, the liveliness of this world, the beauty of the body, right? Afterward, it fades. So who is maintaining? So that cause is called efficient cause. So Aham Sarvasya Prabhava means the the material cause. I am the source of everything. Mattah sarvam pravartate means efficient cause. After creating everything, I am maintaining everything in its state of existence as it behooves. So everything in this world has certain expiry date, right? Everything, every object, everything. So who is maintaining that? So I am doing that maintenance. So that is called efficient cause. So everything emanates from me. Na? That's the meaning. So emanate means if you see carefully, that is efficient cause. I hope that clarifies.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Anyone else has anything? Okay. Fine.
And thank you, Guruji, for extending yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me to think about Bhagavad Gita in so small time, 2 hours, entire Bhagavad Gita. I'm grateful to you and our dear Rukmini, our Prabhuji, Rukmini Vallabh Prabhu. So all the best. Now your next book is going to start. Now what is that? NOI?
NOD.
Instruction on nectar of devotion.
So please nicely study these books and try to understand. Prabhupada will be very pleased. These are science of devotion. So please do this course as best as possible. I didn't do at my time, that's why I'm telling you. Don't do it academically, try to do it with heart. Try your best. All the best for that. Hare Krishna. Antaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.